because he took, Gachagua is a good student of politics. He took notice of Raila's battalion and he says, look here. And he mentioned names of astute, good leaders who are learned within the ranks and file of ODM. And he said one of the reasons why ODM has stood this long is because he has groundsmen like Sifuna and Babu Owino and so on and so on, people who are educated.
Yeah.
And he started saying that the mountain has to stop the way they vote. And you have to start, you can't be a very educated people, that you have very elite people, and then you are always looking for all the wrong people and giving them positions of leadership. The message he's sending is that the united opposition this time round shall not be looking for demagogues. They shall not be looking for people who can be bought for any coin. They shall not be looking for what you call affordable members of parliament. They shall be looking for people who are astute, people who are learned, people who can speak well, people who can understand the bills they pass in parliament. So on that one, I totally and 100% agree with Rigathi Gachagua, and I hope that the whole united opposition will be filling candidates who have got wisdom to go to parliament and even members of county assembly.
We have seen learned people, lawyers, prominent lawyers who make very bad politicians, very bad leaders, and you have seen some very modest, learned people who make some very good leaders, and so it's neither here or there. It's good to have knowledge, but it's neither, it doesn't make you a good leader if you have a PhD, for example. I don't know if Fanya Mambo thinks that the DP is a good leader because he's a professor. So it doesn't really make you a better leader that you have education. Leadership is very different from the knowledge you acquire from school. Just Gachagua saying the words that he says, he might be resonating with other people, but it gives that impression that he intimidates leaders. He talks bad about leaders. He doesn't care about whether you are whether you are a Form 2 dropout or a Class 2 dropout. By the fact that people have elected you, you must have some respect, because those people, it's not Gachagua who elects people. It's not Gachagua who elected Kawanjiku. It is people.
So Edwin, you're saying what Gachagua spoke about was uncalled for. It was demeaning.
It is demeaning to those leaders, actually, because Gachagua has no mandate to elect anybody. He elects people in Madira and the president and the governor of Nyeri. That is it. There are people in that constituency of Kawanjiku who elected him. There are people in the constituency of, for example, Wairia was elected for 2 terms as a governor. Because he's called Wairia, now you want to demean him because he's called Wairia.
He is learned.
No, because that is what he was saying. You are giving me Kawanjiku, you are giving me Wamatinga, Wamakeki, Wamatangi.
You see, sometimes a leader is not the person who always tells you what you want to hear. Okay? A leader is the person who tells you the truth. Now, look at it this way. Embu elected a senator. When the Kericho governor was being impeached, the senator for Embu tried to ask questions. And everybody in Senate was struggling to understand what the senator for Embu is saying. Siko Obuya, give him the Daily Nation. He can't read. Now, a bill in parliament is written in legal language. It's not written in Kiswahili. It's not written in any simple language. Let us be honest with one another. It is written in very difficult legal language. That's how it's written. Now, you send a guy who can't read Taifa Leo to Senate, and then you start telling us that education is not a qualification for leadership. Let me tell you, some of the committees we have in parliament are supposed to discuss very deep things. You have a committee, for example, on environment.
Yeah.
And they are discussing sustainable development. And they are wanajiuliza hii jina sustainable inawekwa mbele ya development imaanisha nini? Situtoe hii sustainable.
Yes.
Because this moron, for the lack of a better word, does not understand what this is about. The bulk of our bills, the Adani deal was brought before parliament. Now, you've sent a guy to parliament who can't read a paragraph in the Adani. He can't read. And then he goes to parliament. What does he do? He says, put the question.
Yeah.
Then the fool passes it. And then he goes to Wananchi, and that's what they did. They tell Wananchi, atujui tulipitisha nini. Come on. The easiest way to sell your airport as Kenyans is to get a guy who does not understand what is written and to send him to Parliament. You'd rather have a professor and put him to task and tell him, where is umesoma? Unataka kutuambia huko anajua kitu nuko anapitisha. We can excuse some of those leaders. They don't know what they passed. There's a privatization bill now.
Yeah.
It's gone through. Yani, there are some of those people we can excuse them. If you ask that guy Modego, he'll tell you, Missy Jui nilisign nini. And it's true, he doesn't know. So right now our beaches are being sold because we think beaches are, and I mean beach with a B-E, not B-I. They are loss-making outfits.
Yeah.
So I will not agree with him. This is the same guy. This one, unaona hapa.
Edwin Obuya.
If tomorrow Edwin Obuya wants to get a house help, Obuya atasema amefika form 4.
I don't deal with house
no, anataka mtu mwenye anaweza fanya CBC.
Ama mwenye anaweza kaandika shopping list.
Yes, na mtoto wake.
Yes.
But when it comes to his MCA,
yeah,
anasema birth certificate is enough.
So
birth certificate, wewe unataka house help akuwe na form 4. Lakini juu ni kwako. Lakini mali ya umma, an MCA goes to discuss billions. Nairobi sai wana discuss billions, about 49 billion. Then you want to send to Nairobi County a guy who is seeing 9 zeros for the first time following a number. Then he's wondering why there are 9. You have to tell him that a billion has 9 zeros. And that fool is supposed to come and make a very serious decision. We have a health committee at Nairobi City County. That health committee is supposed to be headed by an MCA because he's the chairman of that health committee. Now, if you send a Form 1, and health is a devolved function, na kukose vitu zingine kwa hospitali, how are you going to explain to Kenyans? So I am saying that number 1 is ethics. I'm not saying we go and look for the most corrupt individuals and make them leaders, but number 1 is ethics. After ethics is education. So let's get an ethical person who is educated. Then you'll get a leader. But the problem with us, we want to get a moron who is educated, and then we create a justification that to say educated people are bad. Hapana, sisi hatuwezi somesha watoto wetu wakaongozwe na wale hawakusoma. No way. That's not the reason I'm taking my children to school.
Igunza will tell you for free. Bad laws are passed because we have some very educated, clever people in Parliament who make an excuse out of it and try to, explain to you, like Fanya Mambo will explain, lawyers actually, I want to believe that lawyers are one of the people who are a problem to our society, our politics actually.
Yeah.
Because if you brought here Fanya Mambo, who is now on the DCP side, and you brought here another lawyer who is now on UDA side, they will all argue and they will all try to convince you that their point of argument is the right side of
that's
the
coin. Truth.
And that's the problem that we have as a society. The role of a member of Parliament is to represent. You don't have to have a PhD to represent.
And to legislate.
And to oversight. All those things you can do. And get me right, I'm not saying that education is not important. I'm just saying that education cannot be the only thing that can be the reason as to why somebody should go into leadership.
And that's why he said ethics should be number 1, number 2 should be education.
Ethics and ethics.
Like integrity, yeah.
Integrity should be the main issue because, for example, Ichungwa is a well-learned man, very well-learned. Alienda hii shule inaitwanga aje Alliance. He tells us every day when he stands up to speak, he went to Alliance High School. And so he's not a fool. He's a clever man, but he's the one who sponsors all these bills, government bills to come to Parliament. Who sponsors the privatization bill? Was it Sudi, who is a Form 2 dropout? No, it was Ichungwa. Who sponsored who brought the Adani deal? Was it Salasia? Salasia is learned, but was he the one who brought the Adani deal? So the issue is that people who are learned have just decided to throw away their moral. They are living on borrowed values.
So they know how to circumvent and circumlocate.
And whether President Ruto was learned or not, the fact is that if he gives an order, whether you have a PhD, whether you attend a model or not, you are going to follow that order.
It's a directive.
Whether Raila was a class 2 dropout or a Form 2 dropout, if we give an order, attend a model will follow.
Executive.
Hana otherwise.
As we